Dog sled demonstration.
Well, go ahead and stand back and enjoy the ride, everybody. I'll be right back.
Wow. They are ready to go. They are so excited. It's going around the trees. That was cool.
Very awesome.
Okay.
Wow.
Here's your buddy face. Look at Mr. Buddy face.
So we got one.
Are you a dog?
What do you think? Do these dogs like their work?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a lesson for us all in learning to love our work here. So, I want to take a few moments here to introduce the team. And I know I can't give all the answers, and so I'll answer a few questions and give a few announcements and then set you guys free to say thank you to the dogs. I'm going to start in the back of the team here. And the back of the team, the dog that's closest to the sled here, and this is a historic sled and historic harnesses. We use lighter weight materials and stronger materials nowadays. But this dog back here, there can be one or two dogs back here. It just depends on how many you need for the team. He's in the position of what we call wheel, and he's right behind the sled, and so if the rest of the team isn't pulling, all the effort goes on to him. So it's often the stronger dogs, the ones that like to be back here and just do hard work. You may, as I go through the positions, you may want to reflect on which dog are you? So are you the one that likes to do all the work, doesn't like to think too much and just pull really hard? Or maybe you're one of the team dogs that just gets along and likes to go, go with the flow, not stand up too much, but you do your share. And these, I forget your name. Did I not tell you who? This is Spur. Sorry, I forgot to mention that this is Spur. Get your leg cut. There we go. There you go, Mr. This is Spur back here in wheel. And so in our team dogs, we have Nuna. Did anyone get a pet Nuna? Yeah, she was up front, one of the pet me dogs. And then Pyro back here. And so Pyro is the bigger black dog. He's a male, she's a female. And they're in this team position, and depending, if I needed more dogs, we might have, more team dogs to fill the team out. Especially if I had a heavy load. I mentioned these dogs can easily haul 150 pounds, but, we like to be conservative and do about 50 pounds per dog. So 50 pounds times 5 dogs, 250 pounds is what this team could haul. Did they have any problem? No. Yeah, I was actually stepping on the brake for a lot of it, so making sure they weren't hauling me too fast. But if, like I said, if we had a couple of nights of overnight gear and food in there, I might add more dogs into the team. Now these two are also in what we would call the swing position, right behind the leaders. And this is a position that either leaders come in to kind of take a break. It's hard being up front. We'll put them here to take a break. Or dogs like Nuna, a 2-year-old, she's up here because she's learning from these other dogs around her. And it's an apprenticeship position where she's gaining the confidence and maybe the skills to become, oh yes, that's you, Nuna. Oh, that's pretty cute. They're gaining the confidence and skills to be up here and be a lead dog. And today in lead, we have Muddy, and she's kind of a chocolate color, and she's kind of a veteran here. But she didn't start leading until last year, so it took her quite a while. She's 8 years old, but it took her till 7 years old until she had the confidence and the desire to be up front and be a lead dog. And then over here we've got Gator, and Gator came to us as a 6-year-old from another kennel. This winter was his first year with us. And so Gator's also, he's been in the lead role, but he's also learning to be a leader. And so putting him together with Muddy is a good match. They can teach each other a little bit of something, but they also are a team that wants to drive forward. And so having that drive helps me when they're up front, because if these guys don't want to go, the whole team isn't necessarily going to go. So I'm relying on them and their excitement and their enthusiasm, but also they need to trust me that I know what I'm doing so that the team doesn't get bunched up behind them. And they're going to trust that I'm going to make the right decisions and calls. And so my relationship with these dogs is really, my survival. They're my steering. They're my accelerator. And unless they don't want to go, I might be no better off than a broken down snowmobile. And so that relationship is of utmost importance. And that relationship goes both ways. So the team isn't just the dogs. These dogs rely on us for food and care and love. You all 40,000 of you end up leaving when the summer goes away, and so we still have to care for them in the wintertime. So the team ends up being people here like Elise that stick around and make sure that these dogs get what they need. So let's give the whole team a big round of applause.
Hey!
So what I'd like to do is take a couple of questions, because I know I can't answer all of them, but I also know that it's raining, so maybe I'll try to take one question from the stands, and then we'll stick around after, and I still want to make a conclusion too. So let me answer one question. Yes, sir?
Is it true that if you're not the lead dog, the scenery never changes?
The question is it true if you're not the lead dog that the scenery never changes? I don't know. I've never been the lead dog. I've always been on the back of the sled rather than up front here. So, no, it's funny, the idea of being a lead dog, though, there is something. We actually do switch our leaders around quite a bit, because if you only had 2 lead dogs and one of them got tired, well, then it's game over. It's like a pitcher that throws his arm out without a backup pitcher. So we actually try to keep as many leaders in our kennels as possible. And this past winter, we had maybe, close to 2/3 of the dogs that would run and lead. Now maybe 1/3 of those were reliable leaders, and maybe 1 or 2 of those are exceptional lead dogs, the kind you could hope for once in a life.
How deep would the snow be here in the winter?
Hold on.
Sorry.
Okay, you guys are willing to stand in the rain for me to answer questions?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go for a couple more, then yeah, back here. So how do you steer the team? Lots of hope and a lot of trust. I'm on the back here, and if I want the dogs to go to the right, I use voice commands, and so I use G to go right and Pa to go left. And so the dogs will train either with a small team, and if they're not learning the commands, we'll walk up and actually move them to the right, and then run back to the sled, hope they stay there until they pick it up. And they'll pick it up from the other dogs, or we'll do it with what we call ski joring. We'll have, you'll be on skis and attach yourself to one dog, and so you can help teach that dog what those commands are. The other commands that they know is on your house, let's go, which means, let's get out of here, or hike. And then one command that you're always trying to teach them is whoa, but it's a really hard one to teach, because then once they get going, they don't want to stop, and that's why we have brakes on the back of the sled here to make sure that we can stop. Let me take one from this end of the stand here. Yes, I'll take it. So the question is, do they wear booties in the winter? And the answer to that is sometimes. It depends on the dog, and it depends on the conditions. We try to breed these dogs to have really strong feet that are actually compact but large. Compact so that they don't get snow stuffed up between their toes, because when they get snow stuffed up there, it's kind of like walking with rocks in your shoes. So if we have the dogs that we don't need booties because they've got strong, big feet, that's the best idea. But sometimes the conditions are bad, and the dog may get a nick or a cut or starting to get a sore spot. And during that time, then yes, we will put a bootie on that dog. But unlike racing dogs, often they'll put them on preventively because they know that those dogs are going to run 1,000, 300 miles or something, and they'll do it to preserve their feet. And we want our dogs to kind of toughen up, kind of like walking barefoot right in the beginning of the summer, so you get good calluses on your feet for the rest of the summer. Yeah. Another question down this end of the stand? Yeah. A good question. Are they all purebred or some of them mixed? Our dogs are all Alaskan Huskies, which is not a type of breed. It's distinct enough from other dogs that they look like a different breed, but they're not a registered breed. And we don't want them to be registered because we want to be able to bring in different bloodlines. So these dogs might... Would you step over there? Let's see that. These dogs might have a little bit of everything in them. And when the mind, you are a troubled mess. But what we are, I'm going to use you as an example. What we are breeding for is we're breeding for certain characteristics for these dogs. One of those is tough feet. The other one is, look at that, the nice bushy tail. One of them is a nice bushy tail, so in the wintertime they can curl up and cover their nose. And then furry ears. He's got nice furry ears that he can keep his ears warm. A nice thick coat, a 2-layered coat. Thick on the inside with long guard hairs that shed water. We want long legs, but not so long that it's awkward, because the legs are too long compared to the body. They'll just hit their legs and it's uncomfortable to run. And so what we'll try to do is have a good conformation. A conformation that allows them to move smoothly so they don't injure themselves because their body, and so when we're looking to breed a dog, we're looking at how well the body puts together in all the aspects of how. Oh yeah, should we just check it? He's also a lead dog, so he's just playing out in the back. Looking how that whole body puts together, and we're also breeding for a dog that likes to run, gets along with people, and has a desire to work with people and have fun doing what they do. And so you are such a little lover. Look at you. So we'll stick around for a couple more questions. It is rain. Well, do you guys want one more question? Okay, yeah, right here. So the question.